Hey, what's going on, guys? It's White Chaos, so welcome back to another video! So today, guys, I'm going to be going over the Week 2 patch notes for the PTS Week 2, of course, and I'm joined here with the Gaming Scotsman. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you?
I am doing fan-freaking-tastic. You want to know why?
Yes, I do. Why are you so fan-freaking-tastic?
Well, the reason behind that is because today, January 27th, the last stand is coming out for Week 2 of the PTS. It should be available. There is actually a maintenance coming, of course, today on the 27th at 4 p.m. CET, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That will last approximately 3 hours. So chances are by the time you guys are watching this, the PTS Week 2 is actually live right now. So in order to actually play the new Last Stand mode in the PTS, you do have to have the Season Pass, but you should still be able to play all of 1.6, just not the Last Stand. So right in front of us, we're going to be going over all of the patch notes. Let me just scroll through it real fast. We're not going to go through every single little bit of information, but if I do leave stuff out, I will leave it linked down below so you guys can actually read it for yourselves. Why don't we get into it? So starting off with the Last Stand. Last Stand is now activated and available to all Season Pass owners like I previously just said. Last Stand gear normalization is activated when entering a match of Last Stand. Character stats will be modified in order to bring a more stable balance to player versus player combat. The gear pieces automatically increase to gear score 256. Main attributes, firearm, stamina, electronics will be increased to the maximum roll of the existing stat on each equipment piece. The following bonuses will be uniformly scaled. Weapon type damage, skill power, and health, and all other bonuses remain unchanged. The weapons automatically increase to gear score 256. Base damage is set to the maximum possible for this weapon. Talents unlock based on the normalized main attributes. Mods act as normal. Other stats, RPM, reload speed, etc. are unchanged. All players will be set to the same armor mitigation value. Players' talents, gear set bonuses, and weapon sets bonuses function as normal. Game changes, it will no longer be possible to reload while sprinting. Increased hipfire penalties. Weapon spread is now wider, while stability and recoil are also more impacted. The Darkstone Koreatown is no longer classified as a landmark.
So basically with the main attributes, what's happening is it won't be that all of your pieces, like all the main stats on your item, will go to the 1272 max stat. It'll still be if you focused firearms into, say, your knee pads. The other ones will stay at 205, while that will be boosted straight to 1272.
So now on to the gear set changes. Seeker, of course, is going to be hit the most. After the first round of PTS testing and community feedback, it became clear that the initial direction with the set was wrong. The proposed mechanics was promoting hip firing when we were trying to encourage more interesting gameplay. The overall bonuses provided with the 2 and 3 set bonuses were also too strong. The proposed changes should rebalance the 2 and 3 set bonuses and turn the set into a more of a skill-based long-range combat set, particularly interesting for marksman rifle users. Set bonus 2 is the plus 10% all resistance instead of the plus 10% body shot damage. Set bonus 3, plus 5% body shot damage instead of the 30% critical hit damage. Set bonus 4, after 2 consecutive shots to the body, the next headshot will have a plus 200% headshot damage bonus, instead of the next shot is a guaranteed critical hit. Now this is one of my favorites of all of the changes, the Banshee's Shadow. Many of you have been asking for a change to the Banshee following the changes to the DZ rules where non-rogue players no longer lose DZ, XP, and funds when dying. With the proposed change, we want to push the fantasy of the Rogue Hunter a bit further by providing a revenge type of bonus. That sounds very cool. Set bonus 4. While Rogue, all ammo is completely refilled every 30 seconds. Damage taken from non-rogue players reduced by 10%. There's no change there. And this is when the change comes in. This is really cool. While not rogue, damage to rogue players is increased by 10%. This bonus is increased to 20% for 10 minutes after being killed by a rogue, instead of no DZ experience and funds lost on death. And last but not least, the Tactician's Authority. To be more in line with the new skill haste values, we have increased the skill haste bonus of Tactician. The set bonus 2 is now changed to 15% skill haste.
So obviously in PTS 1, we all saw that Seeker was focusing around kind of hitting body shots and then hitting high crits on that as well, and it could be insanely overpowered. Especially for things like Hilder and Ear, which I believe are being covered later on in this set of patch notes. So now, obviously, instead of it rewarding you with critical hits, your 2 consecutive shots to the body will give you a 200% headshot damage bonus, which I feel like is going to reward people who have a steady aim beforehand. And then, obviously, if your weapon's kind of recoiling up, like if you got something like an LVOAC, I know those things just go straight up. You could sort of time it so that you start in the body and then go with the head. Banshee Shadow, instead of obviously losing the Dark Zone funds and XP, I think the 20% increased damage to bonus players on top of that 10% is really going to help promote a sort of comeback sort of tactic to the Dark Zone. As opposed to, you know, just not losing any XP. Because personally, I mean, if I had to choose back then, I would have still taken the lost XP. Because then I know that I have more of a chance to kill the rogue and get said XP back. The 15% skill haste on Tactician's Authority, I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out yet, but I'm quite excited to see the changes being made to skill haste in the PTS too. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see with that one.
Now onto the weapons. Hilder and Ear. Obviously, the set bonus provided by these two weapons didn't work correctly, as the Hilder could benefit from its own critical damage bonus. This has now been fixed. That is super cool. Everybody is running around in the Dark Zone with their critical hit chances just skyrocketing through the roof. It was bizarre. You were getting one-shotted all day.
Oh, really? I never noticed. I must have missed this entirely.
Exactly. It was never a thing, guys. Just don't look into it very much.
Happened.
Valkyria, each hit with Hilder increases damage hit by 1% to a max of 30. The bonus decreases by 1 every second. This bonus only applies to Ear. The Urban MDR, requested by many, the Urban MDR is finally receiving a damage boost to bring it more on par with the other exotic weapons. The damage boost might seem huge, but we wanted to bring it more on par with marksman rifles since it handles very similarly. Now, this is just insane. The base damage increase is 65%. That is bizarre. As well as the Distracted, the third talent, where you would get somebody in a status effect, you would also do the bonus damage. That's what its basis was around. That damage bonus is increased to 18% instead of 10%, so maybe we're going to start seeing Urban MDR in actually full-fledged builds, which will be pretty crazy to actually see. For the FAMAS, to make it more unique, we have changed the name of this weapon. We have also increased its damage slightly. So guys, the FAMAS is now called the Bullfrog. Very, very cool. It sounds awesome. Base damage is also increased by 11.7%. So, looks like we're going to be seeing the FAMAS a lot more as well. Now onto the Midas. We received a lot of feedback on the healing debuff of the Midas and decided to preserve the debuff idea, but with a different angle. The Midas, each bullet you hit with reduces your damage by 1% and your target's damage by 1% to a max of 20%. The effect is reduced by 5% per second. Now onto the Showstopper. Requested by many, the Showstopper is finally receiving some love with this new PTS build. Base damage is increased by 11%. Now onto the Hungry Hog. It became obvious during the PTS that the current installment of the Glutton talent could lead to ridiculous amount of damage. We have decided to limit the amount of bonus damage that can be received from its talent. Glutton now provides 10% extra damage per kill and can stack up to 5 times. I like how they just have the L86, like just...
Yeah, I was just thinking, just sitting there amongst all these exotics. It's just like, hi guys.
Hey, can I join?
Can I join your clan?
The FAMAS joined, can I join?
Yeah, like the FAMAS got in, why don't I? I used to dominate 1.3, bitch.
Now onto the Historian. It was reported on the PTS that the explosion sound of the Historian was a bit too loud and could disturb disturb gaming? Coincidence? I think not. Explosion sounds of the Historian has been lowered. As we just said, the L86, just randomly here, base damage increased by 4%, damage fall off range reduced by 40%. I'm sorry, L86, but you're not going to become a FAMAS. Or I mean the Bulldog.
What do you mean?
In the standard.
What do you mean, L86 new meta? Of course, man. What are you talking about?
L86, you cannot become an exotic. Stop trying. Maybe 1.7, but not in 1.6. Yeah. Just get out of here. I don't know why you're on this list.
Tryouts. Go back and study. So in PTS week 1, obviously Hilder and Ear were just a little bit broken, and I use the term a little bit very, very loosely because they were insanely broken. So I think the fact that they're sort of stopping at a 30% critical hit damage increase is quite nice. And then obviously the fact that now this will only apply to Ear as opposed to working with the Hilder as well, because in the original patch notes, Hilder was never meant to crit, so it's quite nice that they have been able to fix that, and now that Ear is the only one able to crit. So I feel like there's still going to be a really viable option for an exotic slot. Well, 2 exotic slots technically because they're a set weapon. So I feel like they're going to be pretty useful. As for the Urban MDR, I can see that becoming quite popular among a lot of players now. Especially people who like to focus around sort of aiming for the head. I can imagine like if they maybe don't want to use like a marksman rifle, they could probably go for like a single shot assault rifle, you know. Obviously, the MDR is kind of the main option for that, so I could see the 65% base damage increase to that being very nice. Especially someone who's running a Firecrest, actually. If you can imagine getting the flame turret to burn your enemy, and then Distracted kicks in, so that's an extra bit of damage right there as well. That 18% will do quite a fair amount. The FAMAS, I love the new name. Bullfrog just sounds better than FAMAS. And the base damage increase sounds like it'll be quite a nice one to take a look at as well. I think Midas is going to be a pretty interesting weapon to see in both PvE, but more so in PvP, because it's sort of a risk-reward between you and the agent you'll go up against with, because then you know you're debuffing your damage, but at the same time, you know you're still going to be able to debuff them as well, which will leave them weak to attack. But it also leaves you weak to attack, so it's going to be interesting to see how those fights in the Dark Zone are going to play out when you put both yourself and your enemy at a disadvantage. The Showstopper buff, overall, very nice, very good. I quite like that 11% base damage increase. I've been hearing a lot of people saying the sort of Striker Showstopper has been kind of the meta at the minute, so it'll be quite interesting to see how that changes, or like how much more powerful it becomes with this base damage increase. And Hungry Hog, as much as I hate putting caps on things, I must say it did need it. I did run a couple missions with Hungry Hog, and I was hitting upwards of about 500,000 to the body, I think. So, and that wasn't even a crit. That was just a general, white text shot. So it was insane. Historian Explosion sound I'm happy with because it was loud and annoying. And as for the L86, best exotic in the game.
Now onto the gear stats. For the chest piece, across the board, damage to elites and damage from elites are going to be removed from any other piece from the game, so those will no longer be an option. But also with the chest piece, they will be adding skill haste and enemy armor damage, which is pretty cool. Onto the backpack, they're going to be removing skill haste and removing signature skill resource gain, but adding weapon stability, which sounds like a really cool one to be adding. Now onto the mask, the enemy armor damage is going to be added. What that means is that it's now going to be a major stat instead of a minor one, so that's why it's being added in a sense like that. Now onto the gloves, enemy armor damage is going to be added onto there as well as a major, of course, and skill haste as well. Onto the knee pads, enemy armor damage is going to be added as a major, and skill power is going to be added onto those rolls as well. And finally, onto the holster, they're removing pistol damage, which was just a bizarre one. Why did they have that in the first place? And they're going to be instead adding critical hit chance and reload speed, which both of those options sound really, really cool, and I can't wait. Other changes to the stats, enemy armor damage is now a major bonus and no longer a minor. Damage to elites is now a minor bonus and no longer a major. Damage from elite values have been halved, and pistol damage is doubled on gloves.
So basically, I think across the board that all these changes are good. Obviously, removing damage to elites and damage from elites as a major stat across the board is a very good move, and it's now obviously being moved to minor stats. So obviously, it's going to promote more build diversity as opposed to what we've had in PTS Week 1, because everybody's sort of gone for that, if you don't have health, you're going to get shredded. So I quite like that they're adding in that sort of free health as well with the world tier that you're in, because then it rewards players who don't maybe spec into being as tanky, but it also then promotes and rewards players who do still spec into being tanky with that bit extra free health. So across the board, I would say that the changes being made to possible rolls on gear are across the board very good.
Now onto the skills. I'm not going to be reading the entire paragraph, but instead I'm just going to be going over the bullet points because they're more important. Sticky Bomb, the disruptor explosion radius is increased to 9 meters. Not as much of an important one, but mainly I just wanted to focus on support station. All mods, the radius decreased from 8 meters to 6 meters. All mods, healing rate decreased from 16.7%. And life support, revive time increased from 3 seconds to 5 seconds. The base stats of the life support were a bit too strong, especially in combination with the Reclaimer gear set.
So all in all, I think the changes being made to support station are pretty fair and quite balanced, because I've been seeing a couple players running with Reclaimer in the current PTS build that we've had access to over the past couple of days, and it has been an incredibly powerful gear set, obviously, and the support station itself being as powerful as this. I think these two hand in hand were pretty powerful, but obviously the support station kind of brought most of the potential to the sort of imbalance to it, I suppose you could say, because healing speeds obviously on the life support were higher than you could actually do to another player yourself. With PTS 1 they changed the healing speed to 5 seconds as opposed to the original 3, but support station was left at 3 seconds as well. So seeing that change as well, I'm kind of alright with this. It's going to be a bit more challenging to run things like legendary missions now, possibly with not as powerful a support station, but we will find ways around it because that's what we have to do now.
So at the end of the article, we have vendors, legendary difficulty, and bug fixes. I personally don't think that there's much to really cover here. I'm just going to leave it on the screen anyways if you guys wanted to read it. And again, the article will be linked down below in case you guys wanted to read the entire thing by yourself. And also, I just wanted to thank the Gaming Scotsman for helping me out with this video. We kind of did things a little bit different. Like, I read all the bullet points and stuff like that. He kind of gave his 2 cents on it. So I don't know, if you guys like these sort of videos, just let me know and we'll make sure and do more of them. But other than that, I just really want to thank you, Gaming Scotsman, for coming out and helping out. I appreciate it, dude.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem, dude. So I guess we're going to call that the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed it, don't forget to drop a like on it and also subscribe to both of our channels. We'd really appreciate it if you guys can do that. We're going to be covering a lot of PTS stuff if you guys haven't known already. Seen our channels, we've been doing a lot of coverage on PTS. We've been doing live streams and other things as well. And when 1.6 comes out officially, we're definitely going to be going strong at that time as well. So make sure to stay in tune to both of our channels for the best content you guys will ever see. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.
Bye.